Sounds great on the microphone, but I don't know if it's going to let any of that through. Good afternoon, good evening, and good day to everyone out there today. It's been quite a week for the Green family here. Uh, so there's not a lot of news for you this week, but we've got some. My wife spent most of the week in the hospital. I had emergency dental surgery on Friday. Uh, that's the bad news. But then the good news is we took Motoko out for her first Tesla Club meetup. We had an outing with the Tesla Club of Southern Maryland. We went to Leonardstown. We saw I was supposed to get the pictures ready, but I was busy getting ready for the show. I'll get those pictures loaded up in just a moment after we share everybody else's pictures for the week. We got to see the F-150 Lightning, and then we also got to see it right next to a Rivian R1T, the first one I've seen in a color in the flesh in a color other than launch green. And so we got up about 6. We left the house about 6 yesterday morning. Uh, Went to a car wash. The car wash thought it was too good for our cash because it only took cash, and so we took the dirty car to the meeting. And one of our friends there, she got her Model X long range 5-seat after waiting nearly a year. So we had the two, and it was black too. So we had the two of them parked next to each other, and the pizza was good. It was a good end to the week, and then the other end to the week is getting to chat with you all. So that is something we were looking forward to, and here we are. Luna has prepared a surprise for those of you that are channel members and patrons as of today. We don't actually do physical product uh, gifts, rewards, prizes, whatever, however you want to phrase it. But she's prepared something for you guys. So for the YouTube members, you're all with me on Twitter or a co-host, as in the case of Dawood. And the folks on Patreon, I'm gonna email you guys, and we'll get some addresses for you guys, and get something that Luna's preparing for you guys out there, because I think it's a good little bit of fun there. Oh, diaper change time. All right, so let's get started with the photos, and then after we start with these first two photos, then I'll go into my photo stream and try to share you guys the Rivian and Lightning. So let's get started. So this first one is coming from one of our friends in LA. This was taken on May 30th, and yeah, so this 200-mile trip, we left with a 90% battery and got back to the grocery store near our house at 20% charge, and the supercharger was really slow. It was like 32 kilowatts, and then when the Model X that was next to us left, it jumped up to 42 kilowatts. So I'm thinking that um, either they were limiting their rates for demand charges, or the batteries in the V3 supercharger were low, and they got priority to recharge in time for rush hour. Um, because it never saw higher than 42. We had 25%, and then we came home, and then the car charged from, I want to say, like 6 o'clock to 11 o'clock at night, and it was ready to go. Remember, here we're charging it on a dryer outlet, so it could charge faster. Like at our house, where we've got an 80 amp connection, from 0 to 90 is 4 hours flat. But most Teslas don't charge like that anymore. Um, so I don't see any comments from anybody. Let me check the audio and make sure it's actually working. Um, yes, it is. So this trip would have been super expensive. Instead of being, it was like $6, but remember we have free supercharging, so it was like $4 in electricity. It would have been a full tank of premium if this was a gas SUV, and that would have been considerably pricey because we didn't even stop for the main event. The main event was a concert. Motoko, she had 6, 7 good hours out, and we figured that was a good start for her first outing. So we left after everybody was leaving the pizza parlor and going to the concert. We went back to the house, and that would have been easily $150 in gas for a um, premium SUV. The next one is in the same vein, and it is coming from our friend Anders. So we're gonna do the same thing we usually do and just recycle the tab, since the switch tab sharing button has been removed from Edge for now. So this one's coming from our friend Anders. Hello, Anders. uh, Derek says he gets charged at $5 per hour. Ouch. Yeah, we still got electricity pretty cheap out here, and I appreciate that. Robert Williams says hello. And let's see. So this is what Anders is seeing over in Stockholm, Sweden today on June 8th. It is per liter 95 octane, 23.43, which is $9.05.8 per gallon. And diesel is $10.04 per gallon. And E85, ooh, I hate E85 because in the States, it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to be cheaper and help reduce emissions, and it does neither of those things in the States. It makes emissions worse as far as I mean, I guess it's less of the gasoline compounds, but like it's got more particulates, more CO2. I don't know how they managed to do that. But you'll see during the bad air days, they'll actually tell you not to burn E85. So that one comes out to $8.14 per gallon, almost $8.15 per gallon. Wow! And here you can see it on the chart. Oh, you charge it 5 miles per hour on the 110. Yes. For me on the 110, I can get up to 3 miles per hour. It's usually much less because any number of things can knock it back down. So that's why we switched from an extension lead. I want to say it's a 10 gauge on the 110 to a 8 gauge 50 amp extension lead, and that one gets done much faster, but still limited to 24 amps because the drive circuit is only good for um, 30 amps, and you have to derate it by 80% to handle a continuous load, any load over 6 hours, which it usually is on the Model X. Eddie says he's still doing the free public charging, and Robert says it's 240 there. So yeah, your granny lead is much nicer than ours. You've got what is it, 20 amps at 240 or 15 amps at 240, rather than our main outlets here are up usually 15 amps at 110 or 120, and you can get them as high as 20 amps in a normal situation. We have a lot of different flavors as well, and we can get 240. It's just not every outlet in the building will be a 240. It takes work because we combine two circuits to get our 240, and yeah. So that's gas prices. So now let's go over to my photo stream. See if I can load up the photo I want. I want yesterday. Yes, yesterday. But none of these photos were actually taken there. These are coming from social media. There we go. I think I can do this. See how it looks if I share it this way. Ha! It does work. So that's our friend Purcell Artis. And we've got ourselves a black Model S, a blue Model Y, a blue Rivian, and our black Obsidian Model X, and a black Model 3. Now, where's the one where they were all together? Stand by. Everything to get everything in frame, but the cars were so far apart. Here we go. Here's one with. They get them all in frame. Of course not, because that would be too easy. Here we go. Let's do this one. We get a theme. Get Purcell in both of them. So this is with. We actually saw two Lightnings yesterday. One from each dealership in town, and speaking of Purcell, don't waste your time. Just hit 1,000 YouTube subscribers yesterday. Congratulations! And if you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and click on his chat there and subscribe. And so we got Purcell here. We had a black F-150 Lightning And then later in the day, I think we had a blue F-150 Lightning, and then this Rivian actually belongs to one of the club leaders, so it was at all the events yesterday, and he managed to get the compressor to overheat, the air ride compressor. Hopefully, it was just a missed reading or something. But after a few minutes, it cooled down and it went back to normal. So we had a Rivian and the Lightning, and let's see if I get any more photos of the Lightning. I didn't take many because all I had was the phone, and you guys uh, have seen the professional photos of the Lightning. In fact, Google's offering to fix my lighting because it was it was an overcast morning. Um, One thing I didn't realize was that the F-150 Lightning has a power tailgate. I did know it had the bed step, and Purcell pointed out that bed step is actually a little flimsy. I don't know why this is so pixelated here. I swear I took a good picture. Let me refresh it. There we go. Yeah, so there's a bed step in here. There's an integrated ruler. What I didn't know was power up and power down. That's pretty cool. This black one, we couldn't get the bed scale to work, so we don't know if that's a an option or if the first truck nobody knew how to operate it. Because on the second truck, uh, we found that you can fit 6 adult men in the back before it tells you overload. And then if that were real cargo, you would have to take some out or you would be in violation of safety. And let's see, I've got another picture here of the F-150 Lightning. Let's go back here. There. Paste and go. And then, this is the only one we have without Purcell in it, huh? Let me refresh it again because that should be much higher quality. There we go. So we were talking about Chevrolet possibly doing dual charge ports on the Silverado. Uh, and Ford does this thing where they've got the charge port looks like this on the driver's side, and they've got a matching door cover hole in the fender opening going on here on the passenger side, but it's fake. For whatever reason, it's fake. But that's the F-150 Lightning. And let's see. So we talked about what Anders had to share. We talked about this one is interesting to me. The Boring Company wants to link a couple cities together that are a little bit longer than the loop system is designed for, and a lot shorter than the Hyperloop system is designed for. And it also might be a little too short a distance for regional air. So they want to connect San Antonio and Austin. And I'm not sure what the traffic situation looks like there. So I guess what we can do is after this, we can pull up a map and pretend that we're driving between the two of them during rush hour. See what the traffic looks like. Um, but they put out a bid, and we'll see if it gets accepted. They're going to have 80 miles and 80 miles of tunnels between the two cities. And what I'm thinking is, if this thing goes through, that's too long of a tunnel to do with the safety drivers safely. Because to get the high speed you're going to need, it doesn't. It's not impossible to do. It just doesn't seem like it's a good recipe. So what I'm thinking is this might be the first test of the autonomous. So they probably still have the safety drivers there, but the cars would run at high speed, and the safety driver would be there to take over if necessary. They're not saying this. This is my pure speculation. Uh, and then obviously once that goes off, and they've got enough trips to prove that it is safe, and you know, zero interventions for like 1,000,000 miles or something. Speaking of miles, I went over 70,000 miles in the Model X yesterday, and uh, that's not how far we drove. That's the odometer rolled over 70,000 miles, and so that makes the second Tesla I've driven freshly out of warranty. And um, yeah, so like once they can prove beyond all reasonable doubt that this thing is safer than a human, I think we might see the fully autonomous driverless system operate underneath between those two cities. So let's take a look at this leaked email here, and So it looks solid to me. We would love a connection in downtown Austin and ABIA. Once there is a plan for the overall plan, we need to know what the cost to Kyle is for the station so we can begin identifying a location and funding plan. Let us know what the next steps are. I want to keep you guys up to date on the progress here. Tunnel Boring Company, or the Boring Company, sorry, deploys individual systems in San Antonio and Austin. Development entity forms or reconstitutes to lead connection from San Antonio to Austin, likely collaborating with the Texas Department of Transportation to follow I-35 for right-of-way. So San Antonio to Austin, Texas, segments deployed each with individual utility. Kyle to Austin, New Braunfels to San Antonio, San Marcos to Kyle, and New Braunfels to San Marcos. So this is actually 4 stations. So that actually is even more utility than the headline leads out to be, because 4 stations, that could be a nice little commute situation there, especially since Elon doesn't believe in working from home. With the leaked articles about ATX and SATX here, there's enough in public space for you to start having what-if conversations with folks. Just don't implicate me or the Boring Company directly. We are most useful operating in background and not in the front of the parade. Whoops. All right, so let's open up. Let's assume it was just straight rather than going through all the different stations. We're going to go from near I-35 right of way. We're going to go from San Antonio to Austin. So let's do, I guess let's use Google Maps. Any number of mapping solutions we could use. So let's do, we'll do San Antonio to Austin. Using I-35, that would take you an hour and 27 minutes if we were to do it today. An hour 30 minutes if we were to do it on the Greyhound, and an hour and 30 minutes via the frontage road. Okay, so next thing we'll do is we're going to say we're not leaving now. We're going to leave at let's call it 8 a.m. just in case it uses my local time instead of Texas time, and not Sunday, but Monday. All right, so typically it's an hour 15 to an hour 50 with traffic. So let's push that back an hour. There we go. So we're hitting their rush hour there. Typically an hour 30 to 2 hours and 20 minutes for this leg, or an hour 25 to 2 hours. So that's still not a bad commute as far as commutes can go. Uh, mm. But if these two city pairs have a lot of workers going between them, then you could get that many cars off the road, which would be kind of cool. I don't know. What do y'all think about taking a Boring Company tunnel to from Austin to San Antonio? I think it's more interesting that they have the different stops. Yes. All right. So moving on. This article is coming from Drive Tesla Canada. And Tesla is pushing the FSD beta to wide release earlier than Musk has previously predicted. And we're seeing people with scores as low as 93 get in the system. If you've seen anybody with a lower score, or if you have a lower score than 93 and you got in, let us know in the chat there. So basically, this is FSD beta 10.12.2, and it did pretty well on our trip out to the event and back. There was a little bit of rain. There were a couple times where it warned that it was going to turn off, even though it wasn't really raining that badly, because deep rain is garbage. And it's better than it ever has been, but man, it still doesn't know how to work the wipers compared to a rain sensor. And it never did kick out, thankfully. And it did pretty well with using the HOV lane when we were coming back. It tried to use the HOV lane going out, except that it was closed. So I found the car navigating to closed gates and flags, and uh, I don't know. Uh, I'm not about to pay for those gates and arms and risk the scratch to the car and everything. So let's not find out what it would do if I let it run. So I took over, not a takeover, but I signaled away from where it was trying to go, and it accepted that, and then we went about our trip. And then once we got off of the highway, which was maybe about 15, 20 minutes on the highway, it was all country roads from there. A few of them were navigated on autopilot, but most of them were taken care of by FSD. On the way back, more of them were navigated on autopilot, and it was always interesting where it would hand off to FSD, and it did okay. It did okay. Um, Better than the previous one would have done, 11.2, 10.11.2, but it's still not ready to be driverless yet. But it's a nice system as far as adding safety, adding awareness, and taking the stress and load off of the driver, so you can look for edge cases that are coming up. You've got we had one where some dude was super impatient and he started just driving on the shoulder, and then from the shoulder to what was a merge lane, and then zipping in and out of cars, and so I was able to contend with the wildness, and the car was able to keep us in the lines and keep the speed up. One concern I do have about this version of FSD beta is it's a very late breaker. So you can see cars in front of you slowing down. You can see the red light, and it won't stop until either the car in front of you stops short, or if it's really close to the light, then it'll just really aggressively just hit the binders. I think that it would make more sense to coast up to a red light, or even just mild regen, and then increase the regen to heavy regen, and then maybe put the friction brakes rather than just it's time to stop. Um, it's something I need to email them about. If somebody will remind me. But other than that, I am liking this version of FSD beta, and once I figure out what's up with my second camera, we'll go ahead and then it starts to rain. We'll do a FSD in the rain beta, FSD beta in the rain video, and get that done. Uh, I've got an old one from 10.11.2 that I've still got to cut together and share with you guys. So that article's done. Let's go on to Giga Shanghai. Paste and go. So Giga Shanghai is fully operational again, and the Model 3 delivery time in China has shortened. Because remember, they make Model Y and Model 3 in Shanghai. They've gone back to 2 shifts, and expected delivery time is now reduced by 4 weeks, which means that they're recovering from their 22-day shutdown, which isn't bad. The rear-wheel drive version of the Model 3 for Chinese market is now 16 to 20 weeks, 4 weeks short of the previous 20 to 24 weeks. Performance all-wheel drive is 12 to 16 weeks, so if you need it now, just order yourself a performance, assuming you've got the means to do that. And then I assume you might actually have the means to do that, because if you're watching me in China, then you've gone around all sorts of the Great Firewall, which means that you're a person of intellect and means. So yeah, get yourself a performance Model 3. Next up, there was speculation that BYD would be providing batteries for Tesla going forward. BYD started making batteries before they started making cars and then buses. However, later in the week, it came out that perhaps this isn't going to happen. Tesla kind of denied it, but I didn't see the denials. From what I'm understanding, is they were kind of non-denial denials. It was like more like, "Hey, we didn't say that." Maybe he didn't, but doesn't mean it's not happening. So we'll watch this one and see where it goes. Tesla's already said, give them whatever batteries are compliant and cost effective, and they'll buy them. So there's no reason to think that this, even though it's not actually a deal now, to think that it won't be a deal going forward. All right, so then we've been talking on and off about how solar panel tariffs have been blocking imports of solar panels in the U.S., and we've got this article from Reuters, uh, where an exclusive article from Reuters, where they say that Biden's going to waive the tariffs for 24 months on solar panels that are hit by the probe, which is very similar to what I was suggesting, which was just form an escrow and dump all the fees in there, and then figure it out once the court case is completed, rather than holding us all up from being able to go green. And uh, I think I talked about this before, where China is actually setting new records for solar panel deployments because of all the panels that were not being sent here were being redistributed within their country, and for cheap because they've already built and they were excessive. So hopefully this will help us get back on track, and we can, as Patrick says, have a future that's free from fossil fuels. And then Ford was trolling or something. I don't know what they were doing here. Neither of the trucks that we saw yesterday actually had this kit, but they claim that they're putting in the ability for the F-150 Lightning to charge stranded Teslas. And so what it looks like they're doing is they're putting in a J1772 to Tesla 2 adapter for the mobile connector that comes with the Ford. You can then plug your Ford mobile connector into the back of the Ford and then convert it from J1772 to the Tesla 2 and charge a Tesla. Uh, it's a pretty weak troll because every Tesla comes with a J1772 adapter. So it looks like they're wasting $5 per truck in bill of goods to me. You got a little bit of copper and a little bit of plastic, plus the time that goes, the human time and the machine time that goes into making these adapters. They're not even using the Tesla one. They're using the ones from uh, who makes this thing? Lentz, Lentz, and unless an F-150 Lightning owner owns a Tesla of any sort, that's not a Roadster, original Roadster, I don't see them actually making any use of this thing. I mean, yeah, there are people who run out of charge, but it doesn't happen all that often to the point where you'd spend millions of dollars on this accessory that almost nobody's going to use. I mean, shoot, Tesla was complaining about including the actual charging adapter in their vehicles, and now they don't. But I don't I don't get it. Apparently, this is funny. This is supposed to be a strong troll. I don't understand. It's it just seems like a waste. Yes, it does get them a headline or two. I suspect that they won't be doing this next year. Um, we've got a tweet from Nate the Horse Whisperer. So this one's relatively easy and practically free way to scale up installation retrofits. Publish energy use at resale. So you sell your house, and it'll have a fuel economy rating on the paperwork. It'll say, hey, this house can do it's about 20 kilowatt hours a day to use it, versus the house across the street. If they were also for sale, you look at that one. Oh, this one's been retrofitted. It only uses 10 kilowatt hours per day. Hmm. Identical floor plan, different color paint. I'm gonna go with a 10 kilowatt hour house. So I think that's a good idea. So this one's mainly aimed at the UK. UK home insulation has plummeted in 2013 and has never recovered since. They have the details on why this happened and what can be done about it. And so I like Nate's answer right there. Just prove it. We have the means to test them when we build the houses, so it's not that difficult to run the same test on a used house, just to see how bad it's gotten or how much it's improved. But here is the number of lofts insulated, the cavity walls insulated, and solid walls insulated, and it dropped. I mean, they said 2013, but here we go, 2014 looks to me the biggest drop, unless this is the year of the report. My baby's over there growling at people. Fannie and Freddie could require this. The underwriters are the key. If they believe this the value exists, cash flow equals value, so they should. Yeah, that makes sense. If it's part of the people lending the money, I mean, how many people actually buy real estate in cash? It happens, but there aren't that many. Oh, good burp. Odds are high that operating costs will correlate with deferred maintenance. This is true, yeah, because if you're another reason the houses might be different levels of consumption might not even be that they were if they got the insulation done, but the maintenance might be deferred. Like, hey, we're not patching any holes in the wall. The refrigerator's 20 years old. The air conditioner needed to be replaced 4 years ago. That sort of thing, and so that encompasses way more. I like it. So this person says they already have it. It's called an EPC. Tells you potential improvements you can use for negotiation. And he says dig deeper is not tied to actual energy use. So maybe combine these two suggestions here. And moving on, let's look at. I keep saying electrify all the things, right? But then we also keep talking about reduce, reuse, and recycle, right? How about we reduce the landfill slash junkyarding of old trucks by reusing them and recycling them into uh, EVs. So these are Mercedes trash trucks that have expired. That have been retired by their municipalities, and Lunas is upcycling them into EV garbage trucks. They have anywhere from 200 to 400 kilowatt hour packs, and they describe the horsepower as adequate, and not just adequate, but also saying that there won't be a line of cars forming behind them, which to me sounds a little more than adequate, because if there's not a line of cars forming behind the truck, then the truck is blasting off. And since this is an EV, mm, let's see here. So they're converting these trucks. We even might elicit. Well, even that might elicit some strong responses in collector car circles. Those who want to keep classics the way they are. Luna has doing commercial trucks is likely to be far less controversial. Yeah, because normally when a trash truck is done, they throw it away. Scrap it, sell the metal, and call it a day. And where were these stats at? So the interior looks pretty good to me. Let's take a look at these drawings here. Thermal, seat, safety. It's got an electric PTO, so you can the power takeoff unit. LED lighting. Looks like they redid the interior. They got two 10-inch screens and a 20-inch panoramic display. Got wireless charging tray. So yeah, they definitely redid the interior, because none of this stuff would be standard on an old fossil truck. This truck is being recycled. They did a Jag. There we go. So that explains that quip in the article. So peak torque is 5162 foot-pounds, and so they'll have a 12-inch instrument screen plus two 10-inch displays. And I thought this was a good move. And let's see. Years before the arrival of F-150 Lightning, Montreal's EcoTuned came up with an EV kit they could use on F-150 at $23,000 to $30,000. Yeah, but now you can get a whole F-150 for $40,000 from the factory. We're not going to talk about compressed natural gas. And then there's a video here that you can watch later. So let's put this. Good evening, Anders. We used your photo at the beginning of the chat here. And Eddie says some small hotels only have Tesla destination chargers. This is true, but what Ford was doing was the other direction. It's J1772 to Tesla. So it was useless to F-150. But if they could do the other way around, like put their own JSLA connector, whereas Tesla 2 to J1772, that would be something that the Ford owner could use several times in the life of the car. But I don't know how many people are going to find a stalled out Tesla that they need to recharge on the side of the road in their time of ownership in the truck. It might be maybe 0.5% of the people, maybe one or two times each. All right, thanks for putting it out there. That was a good breakdown. We listed the cost for diesel, E85, and regular gasoline. Yeah. All right. So what I was doing was pasting in the link to this article so that you guys can watch the video later. And moving on to the next article. This one's coming from Ars Technica and Detroit Free Press, and not that they did a collab, but that I have got it twice in case we need to dig into it further. So uh, the headline is "No More Dealer Markups. Ford wants to move to online-only sales for EVs." And I had speculated that this was something that Ford was doing with the Ford Blue and Ford Model E, where they broke the electric division and the gas division apart. Um, I think that this is just a toe in the water to what I saw was coming, because right now they're still Ford, so there's still dealers involved in all of it. And I don't really agree with the subhead because that's not how it was written. It says Ford thinks its distribution model costs $2,000 more per car than Tesla's, and it's technically correct, but it is missing a lot of nuance that they put in the article, and it's a really short article. It's like a one pager here. So let's see. Saying that people don't like um, dealerships, which is generally true. And then Jim Farley says, we got to go to non-negotiated price. We got to go to 100% online. There's no inventory at dealerships. It goes directly to the customer, and 100% remote pickup and delivery. He said this while speaking at a conference in New York. So that makes sense. And they talk about that being a Tesla innovation. I don't know that it was meant to be an innovation as much as it was just them keeping out of the dealer model. Um, Ford is prohibited from selling their products directly to customers over legacy fears of vertical integration, which has been written into state law since the early 20th century. Yep. And so that's why this author is speculating that Ford's franchise dealers will continue to play a role. So then the quote continues. Uh, then we have this opportunity to use our physical presence to outperform competitors. I think our dealers can do it, but the standards are going to be brutal. They're going to have to be. They're going to be very different than they are today, he says. Move away from dealerships could save Ford money. Uh, the company says its current distribution model adds around $2,000 in extra cost per car compared to Tesla. A third of that cost is tied up in inventory, and another third is spent on advertising. And that's why I said it wasn't correct, as it could be. Um, simply not having inventory isn't the whole story, because they're also advertising, and something else that Tesla's not doing. So yes, it was correct, but it left a lot out. As you don't have a lot of room in a headline anyway. So he continues to say, our model is messed up. We spend $600 to $700 per vehicle to promote it, and we spend nothing post warranty on the customer experience. The problem is on a parts business, which has historically been very profitable, we maybe get 10 to 20% of the customers to come back to see us. Yeah, but now, I mean, you'll still get them back because you're the only person selling the parts. But I guess why waste the money advertising it? Yeah. He also doesn't see the point in advertising a car that's already sold out. He says, if you ever see a Ford Motor Company doing a Super Bowl ad on our electric vehicles, sell the stock. So it sounds like you need to sell the stock in a couple of years, because you know it's coming. That's just the way they operate. Let's dig into these comments, and let's hear what you guys have to say as well. Leave a note in the chat there, and we'll see. Bless his cotton socks. Dealers add nothing positive to the experience for anyone who is confident. Uh, Edited earlier to add, except for the ability to see and test drive the car in person. Yeah. Um, it was nice for me as a salesperson to help you learn how to operate all the controls. But if you were coming from the previous model, I just had to show you the new stuff. And if you were new to the model, then that's where the value was. But you could easily turn that job from sales into customer experience, customer training, uh, and most of it you could replace with a YouTube video, but you could get by with less people if you had people like me who were knowledgeable in the product, showing you how to use the features that you didn't know existed, and then reminding you how to work the features that you wanted to use but didn't remember the steps or where the buttons were, that sort of thing. And with so many of these cars going for glass cockpit, you literally just go into the menu and say, "Hey, I want to do this," rather than, "All right, what buttons do I got to push to reset the window?" You just push reset window from the service menu. Let's see, no dealerships. What are those salespeople going to do to support their families? Something else. Will somebody please think of the children? Sarcasm. uh, he's saying the right words. Now let's see what actually happens. All right. They need examples of the medium trims and all available colors too. I don't want to say zero. We just don't add 10% value to the process. And let's see, my live stream chat from the hosts is going wild. Okay, Omar sharing an article with us. Let's go there. This one's coming from The Guardian. U.S. temperatures hit record levels as the Southwest bakes in a heat wave. Phoenix reported 114 Fahrenheit. Las Vegas soared to 109 Fahrenheit, and Denver, Colorado, hit 100 degrees Fahrenheit, while inland areas of California reached the triple digits. Dangerous heat waves swept across the Southwest over the weekend. I mean, even the gas companies were warning us this back in the 40s and 30s before we let them run amok. And here's a link to that article that we're looking at here. Oh no, paste. There we go. Send it. And yeah, more fires on top of all of that. This is a major component, and aside from the money savings and the clean air, like easier to breathe for your health, um, another major component of it is making everything livable. Robert says they're starting heat wave there. Yeah. Meanwhile, the rain patterns are all messed up and everything. All right, so let's go back to Ford real quick, but this time we're going to do it from Detroit Free Press. Freep. Close those videos. We don't need any videos. Oh, hang on. Let me lock this screen and open it back up again. Okay. That usually restores. Yep, usually restores my mouse to the browser. I don't know what causes that. Screen. This one. Nope, not that one. This one. Whichever one. I got the right one. Let's see. So Farley was telling the same thing that we saw in the other article. Eddie points out that they want us to think this thing isn't real, but it is. Robert says that the pollen count is very high and it's windy. And Anders says, click the like button. Thank you very much. Yes. And he teases the company sees potentially huge profits in building EVs for ride-hailing services like Lyft and Uber, which is the same thing we heard Tesla saying about their robo-taxi situation. Shared mobility revenue will grow a lot. No one has ever built a product for them. Uh, Technically correct. Usually they've adapted other stuff, but I think what we're going to see is dedicated rideshare vehicles. Our friend Travis, EV Travis, calls it bread boxes, where basically the only thing different between the brands will be what they've chosen to fill them with. So, like Cadillac might have luxury seating, and your local city with brand. Because I saw the other day, I saw post office branded vehicles. They looked like they were Mercedes. That instead of the circular Mercedes logo, there was a eagle. It was a whole truck full of them, and not the logos, but a truck full of the postal vehicles, the vans that appeared to be from Mercedes. Um, yeah, so no one's built them as a specialized vehicle, and The way they're going to generate revenue is going to change. We're going to see large consolidation and big changes. The Chinese will become more important. China EV makers, if you look at a $25,000 bill of materials from an EV to China, it's probably the best in the world. I think they're incredibly undervalued, and they haven't shown any interest in exporting other than Norway. There's a shakeout coming, and I feel the shakeout is going to favor many of the Chinese new players, which our folks have been so afraid of, trying to block Tesla and Rivian and Lucid, that now they've made themselves a mess, and it's going to let China right in as soon as they fix it for Tesla and the others. Old automakers absolutely will get consolidated. There'll be some big winners, and some people that will transition and some that won't. Many of the small players cannot afford to make this transition. I'd see Ford and VW making it, or at least making it among the longest, because they're admitting this in the public each time, and they're each making moves to do the right thing, or more of the right thing. And it's not just talk. Like, if this had been GM, they'd be blah, 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 and then nothing would change. And so this is incredibly encouraging to see. Farley says it's going to accelerate. With capital tightening, there's going to be constraints that make a new player better. But some of them won't be able to fulfill their ambitions because they can't raise capital. So we're looking at a lot of these EV companies that have started but gone out of business anyway. They actually made some cars, that sort of thing. We'll see how it goes. No, Robert, I don't think there will be a Tesla phone anytime soon. There's not much innovation they can offer there. It's a commodity at the moment. It's not to say they'll never make one, but I don't see that being any sort of focus for them right now. The ones that keep getting brandied about are all talking about using Starlink, but the Starlink receivers are too large right now. My Starlink receiver, you saw it on the shelf here a couple weeks ago. It's too big to fit in a phone, and I couldn't get that in my pocket. I could wear it as a backpack. Hey, Lee, happy Sunday to you too. Yes. Farley also says the next 3 or 4 years will shape the auto future. Startups like Tesla will be forced to solve tough problems like Tesla did, with limited access to money. Yes, funding is getting tight right now with the global recession, or at least global inflation problem for sure. I don't know if it's actually a recession yet or not. We got was it 2 consecutive quarters of drop? So the global inflation for sure. And this was just a really powerful article as well. The other one was so much shorter, so but here's the link if you want to get further into it. There we go. Let's move on to Tweaktown. I don't see this actually going anywhere because infrastructure is expensive as it is, with just bitumen and concrete and asphalt. First U.S. road that will charge electric vehicles will be ready soon. And it doesn't appear that's in Michigan, of all places. Remember, Michigan was doing their sample. They were going to be the first wireless charging road. What's up, Marcus?
Hey, how you doing? Hello, everyone. Can you hear me good?
Yeah, you're great.
Good deal.
So what do you think about Ford going online only?
I was just coming in from outside. I kind of missed that one. Run it by a little bit again. I was just
Ford is going to go online only. They're going to do deliveries off-site, and then Farley was pointing out that he didn't come out and say it, but a handful of times that the Tesla is right. Like, they're going to have they're going to be selling a lot of cars to rideshare. Remember how Travis was telling us about the bread boxes?
Mm-hmm.
He basically touched all over that, and he pointed out that they're wasting a lot of money on advertising cars that are already sold out. And he said that if you ever see a Ford ad for an EV on the Super Bowl, sell the stock.
I mean, yeah, I guess that I hate to say, cut out the dealerships, but I mean, since I bought my vehicle, the experience is much easier and faster if you ask me online. I mean, everything we do pretty much is online, is easy and ongoing nowadays, But that would make sense, though. It's been proven that it can be done.
Exactly.
But I think they should. I mean, then like I say, dealership. I'm not a big fan of dealerships. I can't remember the last time I've been to a dealership. Even before I started took on full EV. When I was purchasing a vehicle, I mainly was doing it online. If you ask me, to be honest, you know. But that's a smart move, man. It's they can do something else with their money. Like I say, look at Tesla.
Yeah.
They ain't got that one advertisement out there, and
Right.
the numbers speak for itself.
Right. I mean, it's not like they don't make ads. They just don't put them out. They've made like, what, 15, 20 ads, and we've seen them all, but they didn't pay a dime to get them to us.
So,
Like you see them running in the showroom when you get there. Like, oh, there's a nice, beautiful seascape, and then the car drives in the sand, and oh, there's a bridge, and all of the cars drive over the bridge.
yeah,
Yeah.
smart move.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that they're necessarily a ripoff, Lee. I would say that they don't add the value they used to add, and a lot of folks are just coasting, hoping that easy money will come roll in, rather than providing value to the customer service, that sort of thing. And unfortunately, a lot of the lazy, greedy folks have ruined it for the folks that are still in the business, still providing for their customers. And I'll say it again. I thought I was a good salesperson. I didn't add 10% value to the transaction. I took it, but I didn't add it. So
Yeah, see, dealerships got a lot of overhead to make up for it as well.
yes,
Profit.
yes, mm-hmm.
I called myself years ago. Tried to sell cars. I think I did it for like maybe. I gave it my all. Like I teach my son don't don't give up. But I think I did it for 2 months. Like I said, it ain't for everybody. And
Yeah,
the dealer, if you gotta be, I wouldn't say it's a ripoff. Like, but a lot of people nowadays they'll feel that way though. But I wouldn't say a ripoff. But it's a lot going to a dealership though, which the future is gonna be tough for them.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, Lee. There are a ton of hustlers out there. They outnumber the folks that are actually out there to provide a solution for the customers. Most of them are out there to make a quick buck,
There you go.
get their smokes, and keep on going. But again, that's not everybody. But yes, there's a huge amount of them out there, and a lot of them have compromised morals, or at least limited morals, and they will sell water to
A wheel.
water to somebody who owns a well. Yes.
But I can agree with Lee saying. I mean, like I said, a lot of people, over here they experience that. So I mean, it just put a bad taste in some people's mouth, and
yeah, like the Costco program where you sell directly with the manager. And I've been thinking about upgrading to a Bolt EV, but I had to deal with the dealership. Yeah, yeah. So look at getting it from Costco. That's another option right there. Let's see, or get a Ford online. All right, so here we go. So the first U.S. road, I don't think this is in Michigan, will charge electric vehicles. It's going to be ready soon. Let's see. It's called Electrion, according to the press release. Oh, no, this is in Michigan. Okay, so they did it. Look at you, Detroit. They actually did something you bragged about. All right. But there aren't any vehicles that come with a receiver. And they point that out in the article. Furthermore, they won't be able to fully charge. Yeah, no, you can't fully charge the EV in a minute. Marcus, you got any headphones, or can you turn my volume down?
okay. Let's see.
Sorry, I'm here to echo.
Obviously, yeah. How about now? Say
It's
something.
good.
Sound
Check,
better
check,
now?
1 2. 1 2, check, check.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Gotcha.
All right, so it's looking like in a couple weeks or a couple months we'll be able to see what Michigan was able to do with their Detroit EV charging road, and hopefully they'll have some prototypes to show us, because we don't have any cars we can take out there on our own to find out. Now this is a fun one for me and Marcus coming up here. Cybertruck with upgraded interior and windshield wiper goes on a new outing. I got something for you, Electric. The audacity to complain about my ad blocker that they think I have while getting paid for the article. That's what that Twitter blue means. They got cash for this. Shut up and take the money. All right, so Tesla Cybertruck with updated interior and windshield wiper goes on a new outing. So here we see that the windshield wiper is significantly shorter than the one they showed us even at Giga Texas at the grand opening. I pointed out that if this thing doesn't extend the telescope or fold out, that the windshield wiper on Model S also, or Model X also doesn't go very far. The only problem I'm seeing right now with it being shorter like this is it does not sweep the camera, and the current camera is actually swept by on the Model X anyway, because the Model X is, until this thing comes out, the Model X is the largest commercial automotive windshield out there. The, the three autopilot cameras are swept by the passenger blade on Model X. So there we go. Yeah, Andrew says that the echo's gone on his end as well. Excellent, thank you.
What do you think? Well, from the when I was when I was at the Giga rodeo deal, you know, it was the long one. I'm trying to figure out why would, because I saw it in person, it kind of made sense, but now I'm trying to. This one right here got me kind of puzzled right here.
I'm thinking that if it doesn't stretch or fold out, then I don't think this is the final, because it's missing the mirror, the camera. I could see it not being any higher than that for the driver, because the one on the Model X is pretty low too. But it needs to clear that camera, otherwise the car can't see. If the car can't see, it can't drive itself. It's asking about different compounds for the roads. We talked a couple weeks ago about the test road in the UK that's using nappies, used diapers. And then there's a couple other trial compounds out there that are doing well. Let's see. Eddie points out it's a long vertical windshield. Absolutely. To the point where my windshield, you have to do it in a shop. There's no way you can, a mobile windshield guy can come by and fix my windshield. It has to be done in a shop because it's so heavy and so big. Even with the rig they need, it takes 2 people or more to do the replacement. This is probably going to be about the same. It is bigger, but it's flat. Some of the prototypes we've seen have a little curve at the top, and some are just literally flat. So we'll see what they actually decide to go with. Greetings from Arizona, Kacey and friends. Absolutely. Okay, and okay, so let's continue on. So we saw the shorter windshield wiper. We also got to see the interior, and Samsung has re-leaked that they got the contract for the cameras, and they continue to have the contract for the chips that form the FSD computer. All right, so this was at Moss Landing for Pacific Gas and Electric. They had a ribbon cutting ceremony.
So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Clean energy!
They don't advertise, but they're everywhere. That was a free advertisement for them. Their truck is just sitting there at a plant opening. Although it is their plant right here. These are Tesla mega packs back here from Moss Landing. And then here it is in front of the mega pack. Never enough cars. 80 followers. Put this video out. Take a look at this.
Man, I can't wait.
Same. Yeah, there's no way this wiper as is will reach that camera.
Yeah.
And I don't see a passenger size wiper on it, so. and we've seen other cars with only one blade from Mercedes, so.
I guess knowing Tesla, they're gonna make it. It's gonna come out like a Wolverine blade or something. You know, it's gonna come out.
Yep. I think it's gonna telescope, or it's gonna like a switchblade, like flip out into the 2 blades.
Are you gonna speak about the inside?
Yeah, we're getting there.
Okay. You getting it? I was smiling ear to ear when I kept looking at this one.
Yes. So the Tesla, they also managed to get some rare pictures of the inside. So Marcus, doesn't that look like smoke but square?
I had to double look at it, man. I said it's gonna be matching. Boy, I can't wait.
Yes, sir.
Cyber pulling the plaid to the tracks.
Yes, but I don't even know if it's beyond plaid, maximum plaid, because it's quad motor. unless the weight is going to make a difference. But here you got the same instrument display on the S and the X. You got the plaid wheel right there, and the same screen from the plaid. And the pedals are kind of a square version of it. And then you've got the 6 seats, so you got 3 across, but you can fold up the other one. And yeah, it's not letting me click. I guess there are no clicks on this one. Yeah, it's not done yet, but I like where it's going.
Yes, the center display, I really would love it because, like I said, even with my 13 now, you know, where I have that yoke in there, it just looks so much clearer now, and just you can you know, it's just it's much better experience. You ask me.
Yep, and with the power doors all around, it does everything my Model X would do, including, if you look here, you can see the passenger side sun visor flips up from the A-pillar, just like the Model X. I like this transition here. This really beefy right here, but it narrows down, and you've got a quarter window right there. That looks pretty to me. So you'll notice there's no mirror, and there's no camera display, and there's no camera right here. You got the heat sink for the camera, but looks like the 3 cameras are not in there, according to the people who were analyzing this thing. But I would say, because that heat sink is there, I would say actually that the cameras are in there, even though there's no display or mirror coming from the back of them like there would be on a production car. And then I guess this is test equipment right here.
Explain the heat sink. You mean
this honeycomb metallic structure right here? I think that the cameras are on there, and that's the heat sink they would use, because they couldn't see through it, so they must be on top of that. Just like on the regular cars, the production cars. Because this other area that they can see beyond is beyond the cutout. So when they say there are no cameras, I think they're wrong, because look how much height there is on that. You see how much height there is? It's enough to hide a couple of 5 megapixel cameras, which is another thing that came out, that when Panasonic was leaking what they were doing, Samsung, that they're going to go from 1.2 megapixel cameras to 5 megapixel cameras, maybe 4, but that's a lot more pixels for the autopilot computer to process. So that new chip is going to be lit. Wait, it's dual sun visors. Look, you've got this thing here, and then this one here. That, or it's deployed, and you can move it up and down a track. See how that is? Right there. So it's either got duals, or they can slide up and down. See, it goes even onto the backbone there. It's got a channel, like you can slide it, which solves a huge problem with the Model X one, because you get like a little like this, and there are parts that I can't cover where I need the sun covered, and so being able to just push it up and down, in addition to flipping it out, I think that's a good way to do it. Or if you just leave them like normal, and I just push them all the way up when I don't want them, and then pull them all the way down when I do, I'm fine with that too. The reason I think it'll be more like the Model X and just on a rail is because you still also have to be able to get the sun coming in your side windows. So you're going to need to be able to attach it and flip it to the window. And I think we're seeing a little bit of that mechanism here where you can turn it. And they're not 2.5 inches tall. They're a full-size sun visor there. You can see the mirrors. I don't like the design of like this down here or that there, but it fits with the angular aesthetic, and I'll get over it. I see that they kept the lights in the door pockets. I do love that feature on all the ones we've had so far, between the loaners and the 2 that we owned. It doesn't look like there's a door handle pocket that we can see, but that's fine.
Is that like a hump in the center console, maybe, or?
Yeah, this is the armrest.
I mean, in front of it. I'm sorry, in front of it. You're going like typically what transmission will go through. Okay.
Yeah, your air handler and everything would go in there. I think the reason that they don't have the console there is because if you use this as a chair, then somebody's feet need someplace to go.
Good point.
Yeah.
I wonder where the wireless charging will be. Like, it got to have wireless charge.
Right here. Just like yours.
Okay, console. So you got to have it down.
Yeah. Now, how would you charge your phone if you got all seats filled?
Yeah, good question.
Because if you put it up on the dash and you look at it, they're going to take out your points. They're like, yeah, it's 2 strikes, you're out. So it looks like they're running a more current version of the software this time. Every other version of the Cybertruck we've seen has been running some completely different version of the software. This looks like version 11 right here. It's probably not, but it looks very familiar. It looks like what you have, right? On the Plaid?
On the what's that? The wheel?
On the screen.
Oh yeah, screens.
Well, not the screen itself, but see the layout of the software looks pretty much like what you're running right now, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I can see some changes, but you got a car that's not out. It's very easy to put stuff in there that's not already out. Another thing I noted is that it looks like they're using the standard Tesla seat frame. Model S and X have a different build-up on the same seat frame of 3 and Y. And this looks like an X seat built on with the risers on the Tesla seat core. So that's pretty cool. Let's see. Real look at the center cluster. Talking about how the car was unveiled in 2019 and was supposed to be in production already. So what? Get over it. I'm actually glad it's late because that means we get a better product than if they had just rushed it out. Still no stocks or anything, which is fine. I like this. All right, let's wait in the comments for a second, see what happens. The appeal of the Cybertruck was the starting price of $40K or the option at 500 miles and sub 3 seconds 0 to 60 for $70. Everyone knows Tesla can't hit those price points now, which is why they scrubbed them for the website. Yes. Hopefully Tesla does the right thing and honors them for reservation holders like Rivian did a few months ago. I agree. And I gave them a thumbs up for that.
I got faith in them. They did me right when I did my plan order, so I got faith in them.
Right. At the very least, kind of come in the middle with us, and then definitely do honor the FSD. That was the whole point. Was they said the FSD price is locked in. If they don't lock that in, there's gonna be a mess.
Yes.
All right, so I don't think we're gonna get into those comments because they look like they very quickly went into the realm of whatever they got into. Here we've got a tweet from SpaceX. And it says, awesome to see how people are using Starlink for RVs. 30,000 orders and counting. And you can go to Starlink RV and get yourself Starlink RV, which doesn't include roaming fees. Basically, they're built in. So that they actually have a little price bump over the standard Starlink service. But you have to remember to keep the roaming turned on because it's built in. And that's what that price difference is for. And then they included a link to a van life gaming YouTuber. A lot of music, that's why I muted it. So he can game outside, he can game in the van. I think I skipped too far because it doesn't show him gaming in the van. There it goes. It was a quick flash. Yeah, it was the quickest of flashes. So anyway, you can go there, tweet, and oh, there it is. And you can see him gaming in his van, or near his van. Solar powered, Starlink. Let me open this so I can watch it later. So then we're gonna switch windows because I've already prepared this one. Screen. All right, so Tesla's deployed its 35,000th supercharger, and that was in China, in Wuhan. And there you go. So let's move on to something more fun. So this one is coming from a Facebook group I'm in. Sales of non-plug-in internal combustion powered vehicles peaked in 2017. So they don't even know it yet, but the death of the fossil has already started. It's the same thing that happened in Norway. Like there was a slight little dip in sales, and then they just never actually came back. People didn't realize that they were gone until all of a sudden 95% of the cars sold in Norway, don't quote me on that exact number, it's up there, were electric. It's like you blink and you missed it. What happened? Like nobody wanted to be a bag holder with the fossils, and we've already started. So 2017 was the peak, according to Bloomberg New Energy Finance, and has been in permanent decline ever since, as sales of plug-in hybrids and electric vehicles increases. Sales of plug-in vehicles are also expected to triple their current levels by 2025, according to the report. So we're right on track for the 2040 that the U.S. is committed to, and 2035 that California has committed to, as well as all the 13 California emission states that have joined up. Or is it 17 now? They keep adding themselves week by week. I love it. So let's see. Most importantly, the market is shifting from being driven primarily by policy to one that organic demand is the most important factor, which makes sense. I keep saying these things are cheaper to operate, they're fun to drive, they require less maintenance, and they sell themselves as soon as you have a chance to experience it. A lot of people can't be early adopters, but if they know a friend who has one and it has a good experience, like, all of us are constantly talking to you about, our vehicles, our Tesla, our Volts, our Leafs, or whatever. And when you see that we don't have a problem owning them, when it comes time to replace what you have, you try it out. Hey, you've always had a good experience. Let's go for a spin in your car. Oh, that was great. It's always so quiet and smooth. And then you get something else, something that fits your needs. And just like this person here, in the CNN article got a Lightning. Right. So even if they stop selling all fossils today, that leaves 300 million still on the road. We need to figure out how to get these off the road quicker. $10 gas will do that. All right, so let's copy this link and paste it back into the same window and skim that CNN article. The sales of ICE vehicles are now in permanent decline is the headline. I bet you the comments are going to be nasty. All right, so same basically what we saw before. In 2025, they'll sell 20.6 million plug-in vehicles compared to 6.6 million this year. Yep, I believe that. Maybe even more, because they tend to predict a straight line, and it never is a straight line with new products. It's always an S curve.
Good point. Yep.
Fully battery-powered vehicles will make up 75% of plug-in vehicle sales by 2025. That's 3 years. I could see that, because it did take Norway a little while as well. But I wouldn't be surprised if the $10 gas keeps up that that wouldn't be 90%. Other than if there aren't 90% of them to buy and people still need the car, because North America is not set up for walking. It other than places like New York City or something like that, we need a car to get around. It's just the way we've designed this place. We're not space efficient. Yes, we've got a lot of it, but we squandered a lot of it. So I don't know how we're going to recover from that going forward. Some automakers like GM, and I was watching. I don't think it was Not Just Bikes, but I was watching somebody who was pointing out that like trolley towns, like you still have a backyard, and single family housing, you still have townhouses, you still have apartments, but every now and then there's a grocery store just in the middle of your neighborhood. There's a restaurant right on your street, and you don't have to take a car because everything is close. And even if you did take a car, there used to be a trolley that would go through, and you could take it to the next major hub, and they didn't need as much parking, and the roads didn't need to be as wide, and they still had off street parking and on street parking, but they don't meet current regs. So if they rebuilt that street today, they would actually have to take out some of the houses. So we've painted ourselves into a corner with the setup we have for suburbs. And then also we've done the same in the city too, because like you can still live in a city and not live in a high rise, but we've made that harder to do too. That's somebody else's problem to solve, and we can look into it and encourage them. But that's beyond the transportation side of it at the moment. Let's see. Did we see the Twitter post about Tesla's ad campaign with signs on every street corner? The signs are gas prices at today's gas stations. I love it. Yes. See, more unpaid advertising. Yes. Some automakers like GM have already announced plans to sell only emission-free vehicles by 2035. Huh. Well, when it's legally required, we're only going to sell what's legally available. Just like we talked about last week with Honda. Honda is going to sell only electric vehicles by the time they have to. So, yes. It goes without saying. They plan to be in business. They plan to comply with the law. While at the same time probably also lobbying against the law, like we saw with Toyota, Honda, and quite a few others over the last couple of years, saying one thing, trying to pay the politicians so they don't even have to do the thing they say they're going to do. Market penetration of EVs won't be the same everywhere. Captain Obvious. EVs are expected to reach 39% market share in China and Europe by 2025. And they can make up an even higher portion in European countries, with EVs making a 40 to 50% of passenger sales in the UK, Germany, and France. I don't think these people understand S-curves. Nobody's going to want to be the bag holder. Look at Norway. It's a clear example of what happened. Yes, there was government subsidy. It was kind of the opposite. It was a tax on gas vehicles of over 100%, but you got exempt from it by getting an EV, and they've started to back that off because they've hit their targets in advance. So they've started to back off what you get from buying an EV, but it's still a better experience, and it's still cheaper. It's still nowhere near 100% markup on the EVs, but it is not free anymore, is my understanding. Not that they were giving the cars away, but tax free. It's not tax free anymore. Let's see. Talking about BYD. Yeah, so this is all stuff we were talking about. Oh, and I did open up the article in advance because I was thinking I would do that. All right, so then we got a tweet from Tesla Scope. Paste and go. And then let's not forget that oil companies get all kinds of subsidies, or at least tax incentive for depletion, depreciation, exploration, etc. Yes, they get, what is it? We said the number was $1 million a minute or more.
Wow.
Yeah, around the clock every year, $1 million a minute or more for fossil exploration, operation, etc. They don't need it. Look at their record profits. They can do it on their own. They don't need us to prop them up. So Tesla Scope says we detected another rollout of the latest full self-driving beta. More vehicles with safety scores of 93 and above. So again, if you have a safety score of below 93 and you got the beta, let us know. And this person says they got it. Congrats and enjoy. This person says, angry face. You didn't get it yet? What's your current score in miles? Still a good number without, so let's stay hopeful. I don't have a safety score 99. What's going on? I'm wondering if this person has an older car that needs the cameras, or if they just missed the push, or if they don't have the miles. You have to have a certain number of miles, I think it's 100, and have that safety score. Tesla 4680 versus Ford. Tesla 50 kilowatt hours, 280 miles. Ford 100 kilowatt hours, 210 miles. I don't know that's fair, because the Ford with a 100 kilowatt hour battery is a pickup truck, and Tesla doesn't have any pickup trucks on the road right now. What would be more fair would be the 50 kilowatt hours to the 75 kilowatt hours on the Mach-E. But again, that's a slightly larger vehicle. It's more performant. And yes, they could do better. As Sandy Monroe pointed out, there's a lot of low-hanging fruit in the Mach-E that they could fix for fuel economy. Let's click into see if anybody schools Raphael on this. It's not a 50 kilowatt pack, though. All right, let's get out of that. Let's move on to the next thing to share. All right, so those of you that own Tesla stock, they have put out the proxy vote request. I didn't look in my accounts yet. So the first I'm seeing is from Drive Tesla Canada here. So I need to go log in and put my votes in. Not that I have even 10 votes. I did start a long time ago, but I did sell some shares to take care of some stuff for a nice little profit, and then I paid a nice little bit of tax on it too. So I felt Elon's tax pain there, but at my level. So they propose a 3-to-1 stock split, and Larry Ellison is not going to go for re-election. So as of June 6th, we have, was that 1 billion shares of common stock? And the number of authorized shares for common stock is 2 billion. Which is insufficient to effectuate the stock split. So our board intends to approve the stock split subject to and contingent upon shareholder approval of authorized shares amendment. So they want to do a 3-for-1, which means if you have 5 shares of Tesla, you'll have 15 shares of Tesla. If you have 1 share, you'll have 3. The price will go down by a third for each of those shares, so you're not going to make any more money on it. But what's going to happen is it makes it more affordable for their employees. It makes it more affordable for people who only buy full shares or people who can only buy full shares. And what usually happens right then and there is people buy it up, and then the price goes back up. Not always where it was, but it goes back up. Typically, when a stock splits, it doesn't always stay up. You have to have something behind the stock, either fundamentals or hype that can keep it up after the split. But nearby, like if this was a regular company, they would have a little bump, and then if you were crafty at it, you could monopolize on that and sell before it leveled out at whatever the new level was going to be. But what we've seen in the past when Tesla and other companies like them split is the share number goes down, the share price goes down, and then it kind of comes back up and levels out quickly rather than going back down. It's not stock advice, not a stock show, but I own shares. A lot of you own shares, and we're very busy. So you might not have seen the email from your place, or like mine, they might not have sent it yet. So you can go and log into your account and take a look. Again, was it in August or September? August 4th. So it's going to be time to get on it if you want to get your vote in and get it to count. Or your several votes, I should say. In the filing, Tesla says one of the primary reasons for the stock split is so employees who've recently joined the company can reap the same benefits as those who were around at the time of the last split in August 2020. So yeah, this is another point: is as an employee, you can only buy full shares in your employee purchase plan. So if the full share is over $1,000 and you're entry level line worker, a significant portion of your paycheck or several paychecks would have to go to buying your share or 2 shares at your employee price. And you got to keep food on the table. You got to keep the lights on. You got to make it back to work with clean clothes on your back. So they want the people who build the cars to be able to buy the cars and the stock. And so this is one way to ensure that they can continue to do that. Another way is just massively raise their salaries, but then the price of the car would have to go up to compensate. I nominate Kacey for board of directors. Thank you. I'd love to be on that. That would be fun. And I would fight for your old value. Let's see. Unlike other manufacturers, we offer every employee the option of receiving equity. Since our stock split in August 2020 to June 6, 2022, our stock price has risen 43.5%. While this value appreciation has led to our employees benefiting enormously through the years, we want to make sure all employees, no matter when they join, have access to the same advantages. I worked for Amazon for a stint, and I couldn't afford the stock. They did give me some, and none of it vested because they didn't pay me enough to stay there, and I had to keep food on the table. But even that little bit of stock that they did give me would have gone up tremendously. But had I been able to afford to buy some, I would still have it today, and it would have gone up enormously. I think they are doing a split soon for similar reasons. The proxy filing also revealed an upcoming change to the board of directors. Larry Ellison is not going to be seeking re-election, and he sold shares. I didn't realize that. Oh no, Elon sold shares after his recent shares. share sales where he's trying to buy Twitter. Musk now holds 23.5% stake in the company, an increase from February where he held a 21.5% stake. You gotta love it. Like he's got a really good compensation plan. Like he's selling massive amounts of stock and still gaining percentage of the company because he doesn't want to not be he doesn't want to be in a position like where he was with PayPal, where he goes on vacation or gets sick or whatever, comes back to find out he's not a part of the company anymore. So he's making it so it's harder to just get rid of him. 69 6.69. Look at that. That's funny. Nice. So Vanguard and BlackRock hold 6 and 5.1% stake respectively. And that's that. Let's see if there's any comments on this article. None. All right. This one I found this morning, which is huge if true. And from the photo, it looks true. So it looks like Giga Berlin is setting up a second assembly line. King Kong and Gorilla get a new friend. So remember, they named the robots, almost all of them, after X-Men. And so I guess King Kong and Gorilla are the other ones that are in there right now. And this is going in. That's definitely an industrial robot. Good to see. All right, let's close this and see if there are any useful comments on this. Oh, Godzilla and not Gorilla. Okay, so they're not all named after X-Men anymore. Here it is in action. That one looks like Doctor Doom or something right there, right? It's an assembly line. Which one is it, and why? Could they just be swapping a bot out because the other is being serviced? That's always a possibility. It appears to be a Fanuc M-2000IA/1200 articulated robot, the same model as appears Tesla uses at Giga Texas on the 4680 structural pack line. Oh, that is interesting. They did say that Berlin was going structural pack, but not at the beginning. Are they ready to go structural pack in Berlin now? Exclamation mark. Yes. Second line for Model 3. No, they're not making Model 3 at Giga Berlin anytime soon. Model Y at 4680. The plan is for Berlin to produce 500,000 Model Ys a year. Nobody knows if there'll be 3s produced after that, correct? Well, nobody outside the company. There's already a Model 3 2022 Europe order in German configurator with estimated delivery in January through March. No, they're not going to do that anytime soon. The Model 3 is a good selling car, but the Model Y is their best selling vehicle. Why would they focus on number 2 when they can't fulfill orders for any of them? I mean, yes, it's good in Europe, but the Model Y is still more popular. I don't see that making sense financially to do that, unless they see something coming up with imports or exports from China. Then we've got some kind of cool news about cruises, assuming that you're comfortable going on one at this time of what's going on right now. So Royal Caribbean plans to provide SpaceX Starlink internet aboard cruise ships. Hopefully they also have a corresponding drop in price for the cruise internet. But as we saw in the Starlink ad copy, not really advertising, but the sales page, that Starlink for Business can support quite a bit of users, and so this, like, you have probably a couple Starlink for Business terminals on here. Maybe reduce some of the space for some of the antennas they need, and then good reliable internet. Yeah, and if you can do it on a cruise ship, that means that we're pretty soon getting ready that you could do it as a cruiser, like somebody who sails privately in smaller boats. We've already got the RVs, we've got houses. They've tested it on certain vehicles. They've got roaming turned on. It's logical. I've seen my Starlink do a lot more motion than it's ever done in the past couple of weeks. I don't know if it's doing more mapping or if it's trying to find a better signal, because I've got it in a bad spot. And then it tells you about Starlink. This looks like more like a press release the way they've got this formatted. Oh my goodness. It was awful to read. Where's my... Alright, so I was doing a Command F and it wasn't working. I have to Control F. Apparently I'm not allowed to search this page for whatever reason. Let's try this. Oh, it's not them. It's my browser. It's not letting me click on the menus either. I was trying to do a search to figure out what the pricing is. It's expected to be. They don't say. We have not found a network that serves. Where'd it go? Hawaiian Airlines will be the first major airline to provide free Starlink Wi-Fi for passengers. Airlines currently do not provide Wi-Fi service during flight because they have not found a network that serves flights over the Pacific Ocean. So there we go. SpaceX will do it. JSX will also do it. We saw them. Oh, Delta is already testing Starlink above their plane, so us normal people can do it as well. Just mere mortals, according to the airline. Although you have to find a Delta flight that's actually flying without a crew being sick with COVID, or deferred maintenance because the ground crew has COVID and can't fix the plane. Delta was a huge champion of no masks for anybody. Take them off. Enjoy the fresh air. And then, just like when the guys in the UK tried it, they were the first ones to have major outages because of it. They'll get back on their feet eventually. Let's give it an update. And hard to get too excited about this considering the pollution that comes out of cruise ships. But anyway, Starlink is a good choice. Good point. When Starlink goes public, I hope that Starlink will be part of the Tesla umbrella or both Starlink and Tesla logos under Elon's newly formed X Corp to hold as publicly listed companies. That'll be interesting. Another thing that we could see is, and it won't be anytime soon with the size of these ships. We'll probably see it on cargo ships first. We'll see more hybrid ships where they, not really gas electric hybrids, but like more like sail hybrids. Like they'll fly kites, literally go fly a kite. It's a huge sail that's not directly connected to a mast on the ship, like a regular sailboat. Like it doesn't run up the whole way. Like there'll be a connection point for the kite, and that will be the way they sail. And then there'll probably be a combination of electrical propulsion in there, and then it's going to be a while before we see them get off of their heavy fuel oil into electric. But we already see some private cruisers all electric. We see the electric ferries that we talked about in Norway and other parts of Northern Europe. So yeah, they have a good point about all the pollution that comes from a current cruise ship, but I think that they can fix this, and they can fix it pretty quickly when you consider how often these things retire and get replaced because they're in the hospitality industry. So I would say that by 2040 we might see a much greener cruise industry out there if they survive at all. Yeah, but if they survive at all, they tend to harbor disease. Like even before all of this current mess, you would see a lot of people come back with just various sicknesses from their cruises, and they've got a lot of changes to make. But it looks like they have a lot of fun, and if you get me on a green cruise, I would love to try it. Not right now, but in a couple months maybe. All right, let's see what else do we got. All right, I said it'd be a short one, so that's what we got. I didn't work on any videos. Well, I don't say no videos. I worked on the intro video for What Drives Us. I took that down from 30 seconds to 10, and I didn't record any fresh videos, but we still got the ones on deck that we're working on. Like I said, Luna and I are working on something for you guys that are patrons and members already, and so look for a contact from me either on Twitter or email, depending on if you're a patron or a member, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Thank you. Also, Zach, gotta get you too.